Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Inside Artesian Basketball here on WREP 15 Sports. I'm your host, Eric Meyer, joined as always by Artesian head at boys basketball coach Kip Staggs. The Artesians with a couple of big wins since we last talked over Eastern Greene and Indian Creek as they shut down that pre-Christmas portion of their schedule and get ready for the second third of their season here at Martinsville High School. So we've got a lot to talk about with the coach, and we'll get right into it. You host Eastern Greene on Saturday and pick up a big win over the Thunderbirds. Really came out of the gate strong and just able to control the contest throughout.
We were able to get out to a great start, as you mentioned, but we were able to maintain it. And we've really been talking a lot about defensive intensity and what to do on that end of the floor as much as anything, and we were able to hold them to 30-some% from shooting for the game, and then I think that spurred some of our offense too. So I think we just complemented ourselves very, very well, both ends on the floor. But we played probably the best game of the season so far.
Against the Eastern Greene Ball Club that has in the past had some really good players and kids that have played basketball a long time. So you know you're always going to get a good test out of the Thunderbirds.
No doubt, and we really thought that this was probably one of their better teams that they've had in a few years, but we got out to just a great start and probably took a little bit of their spirit, so to speak. But credit our guys. We played hard. We really shared the ball. We had 16 assists on 25 made baskets, and we just really did a lot of good things.
Like you said, contributions really throughout the whole lineup.
No doubt, and Tyler Stead got us off to a great start by hitting some threes early. I thought Andy Myers was good throughout most of the game. He continues to get better. Chase Hadwin continues to get better. Elijah Hoskins is starting to contribute in his way, and Reed's just been real steady for the most part. So overall, we're getting some additional contributions.
Big win for the Artesians over the Thunderbirds. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the John R. Wooden Gym on Saturday night. And right here you mentioned a three ball, and Tyler starts off with that.
Yeah, so we anticipated a little zone, and then they came out with that zone, and we were able to get the ball inside here to Chase. You saw Tyler hit the three the previous clip, and so we've got to play that zone inside and out. There's a nice little short corner pass from Andy to Tyler, and Tyler's really shooting the ball well. He's over 55% for the season. There's another shot by him in the corner, and playing with a lot of confidence. Here's Wes with a nice little drive, getting to the bucket, and that's one thing that Wes can do really well, and I'd just like to see more of that out of him. There's a nice defensive play by Reed, gets the steal, passes it back to Tyler, who finds Elijah running ahead, and Tyler's really good at those outlets. He can really get the ball down the floor. Here's a nice finish by Noah Stout, who continues to grow as a player and improving his game. Here's Reed kicking it over to Elijah at the end of a quarter, and that put us up 21-7 at the end of one. And then we pretty much just maintained that throughout the rest of the game. They made a little bit of a run, but here's a nice flex cut by Andy, and here's a pull up by Andy. So over and over again, you'll see the extra pass, wide open shots, guys really looking for each other. Here's Tyler on a nice drive down the middle of the floor. As you see, there's a pass inside and another kick out. Reed's able to knock this shot down. And so, we really shared the ball. We played with good tempo. We played with good pace. There's a steal and a finish by Andy. And we're really starting to chart deflections and really starting to pay more attention to how active we are defensively. And so I believe in this game we had 28 deflections. And then Coach Dearlove will award a player following the game, who has the most deflections and who's really active defensively. So you see us there inside out, make 3-4 quick passes there and get an easy layup. So we really did a good job. Here's Andy kicking out to Reed out off of a double screen and knocks a three down. Here's a kick out over to Wes, who again you see that nice drive, and that we mentioned that's something he can do very well for us. There's Elijah with a nice steal on the backside, reading that pass out of the zone. We're starting to be a little bit better in the zone. I think that's something that we've made some strides in, continue to improve that. There's Elijah pulling up and hitting that three after a pass from Andy. Again, you see us making that extra pass, seeing us drive the ball, getting a high percentage shot, and that when you do that and at the same time you defend well, you're going to give yourself a chance to win. There's Reed with a nice little step back after a pump fake. And here we go, running up the left side of the floor, finding Andy on the right side of the floor and making that shot. So, over and over again, as you see here, here we get some other guys in. Josh Hamm contributes. He had 7 rebounds in this game and really played well in the stint that he was in there. So a lot of contributions from a lot of different guys and a really probably our best game of the year.
As I was breaking down some of the highlights so we could watch them here, noticed a lot of times, especially around their zone, how patient you guys were, and you saw just the pass, the step and pass. I know you guys have that drill as well, but kind of around the world, and just the guy would get in a corner open. If that wasn't open, and feed it down low, and really were able to manipulate their zone with that pass and move them and then get some easy looks.
Yeah, I think we've gotten better against the zone. And, every team takes a little bit to improve against the zone in the sense that, they've got to read a little bit more. They've got to. It's not A to B to C all the time. So you've got to read the zone. You've got to pass it just when you need to. There's timing involved with it to make sure that shot's open. And I think you're starting to see us improve in those areas.
Then on Tuesday night, after you get the big win over Eastern Greene, you come back and you battle an Indian Creek ball club that was coming off a game. They're 5-2 coming in, but they had just suffered a loss to Edgewood. I think a 4-point contest to the Mustangs. Edgewood, a very good ball club, a team you saw in the opening season. So you knew they were going to be pretty good coming in. This is a game I think you've talked about it. Your seniors stepping up and doing what they need to do. You got an early contribution from Tyler to lead the way, and then Reed kind of took over in the second half, getting ultimately what you're trying to look for out of those guys, and then everybody else doing their roles and contributing for the big win over a good Indian Creek team.
Well, Indian Creek falls to Edgewood's 52-48 on Friday. Edgewood's undefeated. Currently, they're 3rd or 4th in the state in 3A. So, they played that, and I really felt like Indian Creek should have beat Edgewood, honestly. But, we got ourselves ready, and, we had a good practice on Monday, not a long practice, but a good practice Monday. And we came out Tuesday and really played, for the most part, some good basketball. We just had a stint there in the second quarter where we just kind of fell apart. We got out to an early lead. We were up 27-18. Then all of a sudden we let them finish the second quarter on a 6-0 run. So we go in at halftime up 3. Start the third quarter. We have a good run in the third quarter, get it up to double digits. To their credit, they made a little run at us, but we were able to hit some free throws, calm down at the end of the game, make some plays, share the ball a little bit, and seal the win. But those are all good experiences for our guys because right now with a little bit of the injury bug that we have, we've got to move some guys around. We've got to shuffle people. I don't know if your highlights will show it, but Wesley's at the top of the zone a little bit. Andy's running the point a little bit. So we've had to shuffle some guys through the lineup just so that we can maximize minutes, but also put people in positions where they may or may not have been in before.
Let's go ahead and take a look at some of those highlights that Coach Staggs talked about here against Indian Creek. And right off the bat, a steal by Andy Myers, can't finish, but Tyler Stead, and we said that a lot here early on in that game.
Yeah, Tyler was really active, but the steal by Andy obviously sets that up, and we're able to, again, that's a deflection, something that we're paying more and more attention to and communicating with our guys. And here's an and one by Reed. He gets in the paint, gets bumped a little bit, gets a friendly roll, and goes the line. He suffered a little bit of foul trouble, but was able to work through it. That shot right there by Tyler showed great patience. He caught it, he gathered, pulled himself together. Here's a nice entry pass from Tyler to Noah on a little flex cut. There's one of those great outlet passes we talked about earlier, off to Noah, who's able to finish with a little bit of resistance. And again, here's a little down screen off the flex cut. Tyler's able to knock it down. So you see us over and over again, really sharing the ball once more in this ball game. There's Noah with a nice little spin move on the block. Here we are getting on the floor. Might have been out of bounds, but we're going the other way.
But that's all right.
And there's Tyler finishing. And Tyler's really had a good year so far, really starting to do some good things. There he is making that extra pass, and Chase is able to knock down that little shot. And so, again, you're up 24-12, and you feel pretty good about things. And then, now we're up 10, 26-16. But they fought their way back into it. And here you see 29-24. There's Reed with a nice little drive to start the third quarter, kind of get us going. And, you see we kind of always get back in that 2-2-1 right now. We feel like it's a good way to kind of slow the game down and get us to a place where we need to be. And then, Reed with a nice little spin move right there to score the ball. There's that 2-2-1 causing a little bit of problem. And Wesley making a nice play, using his length, being able to get that hand in and get a deflection. There's Reed with a nice little pull up, playing off of Tyler a little bit. There we go up 42 to 30. Here we go up 44 to 30 after a steal and a transition basket. And here's a high ball screen. Reed rejects it, pauses at the free throw line, and lays it in. Nice little move by him. But, over and over again, we just made some plays and able to put the ball in the basket when we needed to. I think and you can learn through wins just as like you can learn through losses. And I think that this is a game that we can learn through the win, probably more than the win against Eastern. We felt like we made some mistakes in this game, especially late, where we didn't handle the pressure very well. We didn't handle the situation very well. We needed to calm down a little bit and get the ball where it needed to be. But if you want, we'll go on to
Yeah, we moved on to the chalkboard here. We did this last week. We say chalkboard. They gave me a hard time. It's a whiteboard. So we got the whiteboard up, and we talked last week defense defending the down screen. We've got defense defending the ball screen here today. So Coach Staggs will take it away on the whiteboard.
So last week we talked about 4 different things you have to do to be a good defender. You've got to be able to handle the ball screen is one of the things. You got to be able to handle the dribble drive. You got to be able to handle screen actions. You got to be able to be where you need to be as a team defender. And what do you do when it all breaks down? So I want to show you 2 or 3 things that we do on how to handle the ball screen. There's really about 5 or 6 different ways you can handle the ball screen, but we focus on 3 of them. And so the first thing that we do is most of the time we'll go over the screen. And so if this is a lineup that's something you might see, a 1-4 high, if you will, when that ball gets entered to the wing, this defender, and this guy probably cuts out of the way someplace, but this guy here offensively will come set that ball screen. And so in this case, what we're trying to tell our guys is that we're going to go over the ball screen. This guy right here is really important. He's got to get in here, and what we say is he's got to hedge the ball screen. He's got to get out there and slow that defender down. And then the defender, which is on the ball, he's going to go right over the top when he dribbles it that way. And so we're going over that ball screen, but this guy holds a big key because he's got to hedge it as well. So over, and then we hedge on the bottom side. Now, if we're in that same situation, and maybe we got different matchups, maybe we find a guy that we don't feel like is a very good shooter, but he's really quick getting to the basket. In that same scenario, we might tell our guys now that we're going to go under the ball screen. So in this case, if he's got the ball, and here comes that ball screen one more time, this guy's going to stay down in this area. He's going to protect the rim. And when this guy comes on the dribble drive, he's going to go under this screen. He's actually fighting under here, and he's going to meet him on the other side. So this defender guarding the screener is going to be the support line, and then he's going to go under that ball screen. And then the third thing that we do, and we just started working on this in the last couple of weeks, is that we'll go to a trap in the ball screen. So if he gets the ball and here comes that screen and he starts to go with the dribble, we'll have this guy show and get really big, and then we just like to box that guy in. This part is just the elementary beginning of trapping the ball screen. What you have to do is to teach this guy over here to get over here and help with the roll. Because if this guy rolls in there, we've got to make sure we get him covered. So we're going to trap that ball screen, but we also have to protect the paint and relocate at that point. So those are 3 things that we do traditionally to help with the ball screen. Some teams will switch it. We did that last year. Some teams will jam the screener and go all the way underneath. That's what Eastern Greene did to us on Saturday. And then, sometimes teams will just simply pick one of these that fits their personnel and stay with it. We're fortunate enough that we think we've got some guys that we can do it 3 different ways, And depending on the scenario, we'll mix it up depending on our scouting report.
That's some of the difference where it happens with the scouting report, like you talked about, in terms of how you want to approach it, how you want to attack, and not just how you want to attack the team, but how you want to attack the individuals on that team as well. And you mentioned also with the trap out of the ball screen, the communication that you've talked about so often with your defense becomes so key in those situations too.
Well, absolutely, and you know they've really got to work together. If that guy doesn't hedge and we're going over, then or if he doesn't tell him that screen's coming, he might get blown up. He may not get through. Really breaks you down, makes you susceptible to offensive rebounding on the backside potentially. So there's a lot that goes into it, and so you know we have to communicate, talk, and we work all three of those. I mean, we spend a little time with all three of them and try to rep those as best we can. So when we get into that game situation, our guys know what to do.
And you'll see you guys do that out of your zone. Sometimes you'll see you do it out of the man-to-man as well.
Absolutely. And so like, you know, if we get in a zone situation and they trap the top of the zone, we'll tell our guys to go over it. And then the other guy may go back and pick up the screener or vice versa, depending on what we've got. So we always want to go over the top on that zone just so we don't get stuck.
Good stuff here on the whiteboard, if you will, on the defense of what Martinsville likes to do defensively. Let's look back at we'll call it the first third of your season, if you will. First third before the Christmas break, second third after, then that final third really as you look toward the tournament. How do you assess how your team's played and where you're at and where you need to go?
Well, great question. We just had this conversation in the office the other day. We feel like our team has made progress. We feel like we've improved in a lot of areas. We're starting to find a bench where we didn't have one really a month ago. You know, we started the season, felt like we had 2 to 3 players that we felt pretty good about. We're starting to find that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th guy at this point. And so we're starting to develop some depth. We're starting to develop maybe some continuity in the substitution, and really starting to learn where we're supposed to be defensively and offensively. And so that's helped us in our improvement. We've really stopped adding anything and just taken what we have and just rep it and get better at it, You know, I think back to the Edgewood game. I like to play them now. I just think we're so much more improved now than what we were, you know, at Thanksgiving. Columbus North, I'm not sure at that time we were ready to be in that environment with the personnel that we had at the time. I'd like to play them again. So I think looking back those first couple games to now, we've made a lot of improvement and huge strides. And really, while we've made that improvement, we've started to learn about our personnel and kind of figuring out what guys can do or can't do. And so, you know, record-wise, is, you know, you're never happy with your record, but we're happy with our improvement and our progress. Happy
with the improvement and the progress, and now all of a sudden you're going to have like a 9-day break or a 10-day break. Good, bad, maybe. What are your guys' plans as you have this and reach this Christmas break with how you will approach the team and what they're going to be practicing? Because you don't have a game now until the 29th.
Yeah, so the Wooden Classic's on the 29th. It's a great tournament. With we play Franklin Central at the noon game. Castle, ranked Castle, and Mount Vernon are at the 10:30 game. So it's a great tournament. I hope a lot of people can come out and see that. But what is our schedule? This week we finished up with Indian Creek on Tuesday. We had a shoot around, some conditioning on Wednesday. We'll do the same thing again on Thursday. Give our guys about 5 days off. The day after Thanksgiving, the day after Christmas, we'll come back and get started again. Now give us Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to kind of get our legs back underneath us before we play in that Wooden Classic. And then we'll give them a couple days off again, the 30th and the 31st, and let them kind of recharge their batteries a little bit and then get ready for a conference game with Decatur Central.
Conference game on Decatur. Coach, as always, we appreciate you joining us. Happy holidays to you, your family, and the Artesian family as well.
Same to you, and we hope that Artesian Nation and those that follow Martinsville basketball has a great holiday and safe holiday, and we look forward to seeing all of you on the 29th and at future athletic events at Martinsville High School.
Yeah, absolutely. Should be a great tournament. You've got some good teams coming in, and Castle's loaded. You've got a guy committed to Clemson. So get out there, watch that opening game, then watch the Artesians battle Franklin Central on that Saturday. As always, I'd like to thank the head coach for coming in, for the head coach, Kip Staggs, along with the RTV2 class who helped produce it. Also a member from RTV1, Emily Olson. I'm Eric Meyer. We'll see you again next time inside Artesian Basketball.